chance to save the Lord, save the Lord.
Tell me who you are, show me what to do. Let me be the one that you hold on to. Open up your heart, let me look inside. Baby, we'll go wrong if you try to hide. So tell me who you are. So never let it go, never stop till you know we'll be reaching for the top tonight. Surrender to the beat up and down, and the beat will be shaking, shaking. So never let it go, never stop till you know we'll be reaching for the top tonight. And when the night is over,
Give me your loving. Far away from you, seem like dying. Don't you leave me standing in the dark. Whoa, give me your loving. Give me a chance to make you my girl. Let me be the one to win your heart. Camino por acá, Europe's living a celebration. Todos juntos vamos a cantar. Europe's living a celebration. Nuestro sueño, una realidad.
just run away to the stars. Just run away to high enough. I will be waiting above. I'll make it happen, I try so hard. How lucky you are, your statement is fine. Is it good, is it bad? Am I simply going mad? Is it fiction or fact? Am I really losing sight? Is it magical, logical, natural? I wonder. He's got the makings of my seventh wonder. Light a candle with me. 1,000 candles in the dark will open our hearts. Light a candle with me. 1,000 candles in the dark will open our hearts. All the time I can live without music. Only you keep me going along. I can live without music and the power that's deep in your song. You're the one and only thing I couldn't do without. Makes you wanna sing and dance and shout. Yeah. Tell me why we have to say goodbye.
Was our love only a foolish lie?
Tell me why.
Your eyes are cold and dry.
No more tears, no more fears,
Nothing more to share together.
holding on until the next time. I can't get you out of my mind. If you ever forget me, addicted to you. Every time that we say goodbye, I just die a little inside. Hard up, oh so hard, I'm so addicted to you. Yes, I'm addicted to you. I feel so.
Northern girl, lady eyes, how can I melt you, baby? Northern girl, never cries, don't like a girl. Northern girl, frosty eyes, I wanna melt you, baby. Northern girl. Northern girl, lady eyes, how can I melt you, baby? Northern girl, never cries, don't like a girl. Northern girl, frosty eyes, I wanna melt you, baby.
Baby, come back. If you need me, how will I survive? How will I survive without sve su dalje, kilometrima. Putuje ljubav nekom drugom, snove razbija. Na jastuku za dvoje, samo sad sam ja. Koraci se nižu.
She was getting so much younger, and she never learned what to do. That's why I'm telling you,
Sister, come and move your body. Sister, so come on and make my day.
'cause I'm in love, and I can make you feel this way.
That's what I wanna say.
Eno boši sprav, lahko ti podarim samo ljubezen. Eno in edino upanje. Poglej me v oči in lahko si brez skrbi